The next one of your favorites, Hard-Boiled Haggerty. Paint your wagon, come along.
Oh, Greg's a singer now.
Oh,
Lee Marvin.
I love that. Oh,
Lee
I love that
Marvin,
movie.
Yes.
And he was the blacksmith in Paint Your Wagon.
Sang the song to a baby, if I recall.
Yeah, he did.
And that would have been, for fans that saw that movie, and if you haven't, you can still rent it, I'm sure. Lee Marvin and H.B. Haggerty. He was always billed as H.B. Haggerty in the movies. But back in this day, here was a guy who came into wrestling, again, with a football background. He also played for the Green Bay Packers, Greg. And he came into the ring wrestling under his own name of Don Stansock. In some territories, he was called Don Sparrow, and the reason he called himself Don Sparrow was because they said he buzzed around the ring or flew around the ring like a bee or a bird. It's Don Sparrow. But he came into Minneapolis. Tony Stecker, Wally Carbo in the very early 50s brought in Don Stansock, and they labeled him Hard-Boiled Haggerty. And this is a picture on here of Haggerty with actually still having hair. But he came into the Minneapolis territory. And in that time, I was telling Greg earlier, Minneapolis and St. Paul used to take the summer off. They wouldn't promote during June and July. Well, they brought in Hard-Boiled Haggerty at the end of May, early June, had him on a card, and basically he took down the house. The fans wanted to see more of him. They realized they had a hot ticket. And during the 50s, any fan that followed wrestling, not only here in the Twin Cities where we're talking from, but you're talking Winnipeg, we're talking Denver, we're talking California. Hard-Boiled Haggerty and Verne Gagne met dozens of times. And they just had a mutual respect for each other, but their matches were always, as they used to say in the old programs, Pier 6 brawls. And Hard-Boiled Haggerty, a little known trivia fact that I'm going to give you about him when we get to our trivia column in our GWA website, and I'm going to save that, but Haggerty's one of my favorites, and he was really one of the top draws of the 50s.
Well, now we're getting into World War II, and Japan was an enemy of the United States,